That is not good.
5, 4, 3.
Yummy like a gummy bear.
It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for September 6th, 2024. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, did Sony just reveal the PS5 Pro design? And what if Nintendo just announces a new Switch 1 in September instead? But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host of Game Mess Mornings. It's Tamoor Hussain, everybody. Tam, how are you doing?
I thought you were going to say, is COVID, you're busy? Or is COVID, you're sick? Let's do this.
Yes.
That would have been pretty funny.
Feeling better, then a little worse, then sneezing a bunch, then feeling better, and then I had the tummy rumbles this morning.
Are you on the not gabapentin? What is it? What's the other one called?
Paxlovid?
Paxlovid.
I'm not on Paxlovid.
You can tell what I'm taking, can't you?
I have not felt bad enough to seek medical attention about this yet, so I'm just kind of I'm raw dogging COVID. You know, I feel like the booster did its job. I haven't gotten that latest one, but I've got the one before that and all the ones before that, and it feels like that did a lot of the work there on this. Sometimes you just get a mild case, sometimes you don't. I think this is a relatively mild case. I'm hoping things clear up because I got a trip coming up I don't want to miss, but it's looking pretty shaky at the moment.
Is this your first time?
It's my first time getting COVID. Yeah.
Damn.
Do you think the power's now transferred? Now I'm going to get it 5 times in a row, and you won't get it for 4 years.
I'm still the 5-time COVID champion. Yeah. And you know what? I treat that as if I am a wrestler in the WWE.
Right. You've had the belt as many times as John Cena.
Wait for them. Yeah, I wait for them in their weakest moments, and then suddenly kick a door in and appear, and I'm like punching them, and I'm like, no, I'm still the 5-time COVID champion.
It's beautiful. Yeah, you threaten COVID's wife. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just the way a wrestler does it. I'm feeling okay. I definitely in the middle of the day need a little bit more rest than normal. Is kind of how it's going right now.
You know what? These days I am now encouraging people to take naps. Unfortunately, I'm not able to take naps, but I've seen the impact that naps can have from a positive standpoint.
Moral reasons?
For people who can. I've just seen people take naps and it changes the way they are on a day-to-day basis.
Well, why can't you nap? Is it just doesn't work for you?
I have just sleep problems.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sure. Yes. The napping thing changed my game. We talk about this all the time, but the caffeine naps where it's I'll drink a couple shots of espresso and everyone whatever you got to do, but you don't have to do the caffeine. But laying down and not expecting myself to fall asleep, just saying it's okay to rest my eyes. That changed it because it's just 15 minutes to 25 minutes, no longer than that. If I do fall asleep, whatever. If I don't, whatever. It's okay. This is about resting, and that has helped a lot.
I feel like people, obviously, when we lived in a world where everyone had to go into the office, it was difficult to do that. Having said that, when I used to work in the UK, my sleep was still bad. I could nap, so I would end up napping during the day in the office, and obviously, the good friends they are, good friends and colleagues they are. Everyone used to take fucking pictures of me and post them on the internet.
Of course.
I'd expect that from fucking Dave Jewett, or from Lucy James.
Right, Lucy James should be better.
Disgusting
she should just be
behavior.
Better.
Yeah, but now I'm just we live in a world where you can nap. You can nap, and you know what? Your employers are taking the piss every moment with you. Yeah. It's fine for you to take a 20-minute nap here and there.
The output is getting done is how I've always looked at it.
If someone I manage messaged me and was like, yo, I'm going for a nap, I would be like, hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, fuck, go do you.
Fucking go do it.
Because it really is, for me, I don't care about anything that happens between starting the task and the task getting completed when it's supposed to be completed. Whatever happens in between there, that's your business.
That's your problem. Yeah,
that is your problem. That's it's your realm. You own it. Do what you need to do in there. If that means a nap, that's I don't give a shit.
That is how I operate as a manager. I'll tell you when this needs to be done. Right. Ideally, because stuff like reviews, I'm like, hey, this is when I would like it to be done.
Reviews are tough,
but I know how difficult it can be. So if you're reaching this period and you don't think you're going to make it, just let me know and we'll figure it out.
Yep.
But in all other cases, it's I'm going to tell you when it's done. In between that, go wild, do what you need to, and just make sure you're paying attention to like various other things that could pop up. Because if it's like, oh great, but then a news story breaks and everyone's sleeping, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck, what's going on, dude?
Ideally, not everyone napping at the same time. We don't have a company nap time. Yeah,
no.
I did see the headline today. I'm not going to include in the stories here, but the Yakuza team, the Like a Dragon team's like, we're going to continue focusing on the problems of middle-aged men. And I like to think that's what this podcast is kind of turning into a little bit. Like we're talking about our health and napping and things
especially
like that.
Especially on Fridays, especially when it's me and you. We're just like,
yeah, for sure. I'm down in the 230s for the first time in a couple of years, and obviously I did get on the Ozempic. I talked about that. So whatever.
Oh, you on it?
Yeah, I got on it. I did one of the one of those subscription companies. They have you talk to a doctor through the telehealth stuff like that, and they send it out, and I do it one shot in the tummy per week, and it's made a huge difference. It really has.
How long was it before it kicked in for you?
I mean, it was essentially immediately, like within the first day or two. Now that was like, I was also feeling some of the side effects early on of like a little bit increased heartburn and things like that. That has all subsided. And now I'm like, it's weird because I'm like, I don't know if this is working. And then I'll try to eat. I'll take 4 bites. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm already full. And that it's got, after a life of just consuming everything in front of me like it is the last meal I'm going to have, it is a relief to kind of be this way. So it's real nice. But yeah, I mean, shit works. It's out there. I can't recommend it enough. Again, no medical professional here, but talk to your doctor about it. I did. I say that, and I talked to my doctor about it, and they were no help at all. They sucked.
Doctors are never a help. How do we get sponsored by Ozempic? How do we do that?
I know. I was like, I went to Hims, and Hims should cut the check for real. Actually,
Hims does Ozempic.
Yeah, they do. It's it's semaglutide.
Semaglutide.
Yes. It's their own. That's generic, wild. I guess. So yeah, I have a bunch of companies started doing it actually. So it's out there across the board. All right, let's explain what we do here. Most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we got a lot to get into. Let's start Morning Mess with. Real quick, though, I did mention I'm using the new Go XLR utility. People, after this episode, let me know how the audio sounds. If it sounds weird at all, if there's any sort of crackling at all, let me know. I want to dial that stuff in. So give me some feedback. I appreciate it.
So far, sounding crispy. It's sounding good.
I think it's sounding pretty good, but I just want to make sure. Let's get through this whole episode, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll get loud at some point. All right. Sony shares its plans for PlayStation's 30th anniversary. This is from Blair Marnell at GameSpot. On December 3rd, 1994, Sony launched the original PlayStation in Japan and changed the video game industry forever. American gamers didn't get their hands on PlayStation until September 9th, 1995, but Sony's not going to make us wait another year to start the celebration of PlayStation's 30th anniversary.
Can we get a round of applause for PlayStation?
Yeah, well, they did it. They didn't. They didn't die. They made it.
You did it.
If you make it to 30, the math is like you're probably going to make it to 60. So, there you go.
Good job.
Well done. But from October to the end of January, Sony Music will release classic PlayStation game scores on Spotify and digital music storefronts. So I should have done that a while ago. The confirmed titles include God of War 2, God of War Chains of Sparta, Twisted Metal, Starhawk, and Unit 13. A free trial version. I don't know what Unit 13 is. I didn't want to
I didn't want to be Chains of Sparta.
Isn't that one of the? Wait, is that not one of the PSP ones?
Oh no, that's Ghost of Sparta.
That's Ghost of Sparta, and what's the other one? Wasn't
Chains of Olympus?
Chains of Olympus, right?
I will not have my God of War games misnamed. Okay.
Do you think this is an album that's named for the music from both the games?
Maybe, yeah.
That's the only other, or this is a typo from Blair Marnell, and we got
on GameSpot.com.
In which case, GameSpot.com. Yep.
I'm gonna murder a human being today.
Cam. Fucking punish
I'm gonna get my Chains of Olympus out.
A free trial version of Gran Turismo 7 called My First GT will also be released. That's pretty neat. Sony hasn't set a date for the trial yet, but it will be released this holiday season for PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 users. with some of the fan favorite cars, tracks, and more from Gran Turismo 7. Sports gaming enthusiasts should take note that September 21st and 22nd will be a free online multiplayer weekend for multiple esports tournaments for games like Madden, MLB The Show, NBA 2K25, NBA 2K24 as well, and even fighting games like Tekken 8, Guilty Gear Strive, and EA UFC 5. I don't know if EA UFC 5 gets the benefit of being with Tekken instead of the sports games. You won't need a paid PlayStation Plus membership to compete in PlayStation 30th anniversary themed avatar for these themed avatars and other prizes, but you will need a copy of the previously mentioned titles. This is just the beginning, as additional plans for PlayStation's 30th anniversary will be announced at a later time. They announced like a board game, Tam. I didn't really see the details of how it works, but there's also like this little toy set that is the face buttons, the PlayStation symbols that like come apart and they're magnets, and you can piece them together in different ways, and like it looks like a cool little set. Yeah, I know. How do they fucking work? They look like a cool little desk toy and stuff like that. But I don't. What do you want from a PlayStation 30th anniversary? Because I would want more than this.
To release Bloodborne in a playable capacity. That is what I would like from PlayStation's 30th anniversary. I don't give a fuck how old you are. Do the one thing that people want from you. What is all this guff? Fucking Ghosts of Sparta, Chains of Olympus soundtrack. Ain't nobody want that.
I don't know what people want.
They want Bloodborne on PC, or they want optimized for PlayStation. No one gives a shit about that. Fucking, I don't want no wallpaper for my Nokia 2230 or whatever the fuck the shit is.
That would be pretty cool.
But a new controller would be pretty cool as well.
Okay, thank you. Yes. I think there's a strong chance we get a themed controller. They sell a lot of those things. They'll probably slap some like PlayStation style paint on there. Yeah.
Here's what they should do. They should take a cue from Astro Bot and do like a 30th anniversary controller series. Where it's like a series of controllers or a collection of controllers that are based on like iconic, like landmark PlayStation games.
Do like the very handsome sort of upscale, up-class version of those, right? Where it's like it's not plastered with the name of Twisted Metal, but it suggests Twisted Metal, right?
Yeah. So you have like a God of War themed one, and I'm sure they have these already for a bunch of them.
I bet there's a team there that just designs shit like that all the time.
Yeah, but like do that, and have like we worked with Naughty Dog to do an Uncharted one, or like here's a PlayStation 2 themed one, and here is a Bloodborne controller.
Yep,
that's what I need.
I agree. That's kind of the like keeping things reasonable. That's what I want as well, and those are my expectations. So that's probably where this will go. Now they did do that. Was it the 20th anniversary PS4, like in the style of the PS1? And that thing was really, really nice looking.
It's crazy popular.
Yeah, right, exactly. People gobbled that thing up as quickly as possible. You think there's a chance we get something like that?
There could be. I feel like the shape of the PlayStation 5 makes it a bit weird to do that kind of stuff. Like it doesn't look as crispy, Yep, it's like me when I'm in a suit. I'm overweight, so people are like, "That suit does not look good." Yeah, it's not the suit's fault. It's my shape's fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They're like, that fat guy shouldn't be wearing that suit.
I think you're
wearing a moo-moo. But yeah.
Gotta go to Indochino. Like they'll let you measure yourself and make it fit your body. I hope that they still have I guess what they could do is face plates, right? They got the plates.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah,
it'll be something like that. And they make those with gray, and maybe make the a couple of accents on there that remind you of PS1.
Do you think they could? I guess they could replace the boot up sequence quite easily on a console like that. But I was like, I was kind of hoping that they would be able to replace the beep, the beep on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's like a hardware level thing that is beeping.
Probably. What you want that to be like the PS1 beep? What the PS1 beep sound
like? Or like the PS1 didn't have a beep at all. Didn't have a beep at all, They should make it that clunking sound when you press
sound. I was just like, I like that clunk sound.
Yeah, I love that.
That'd be good.
It's like you're taking a plunger to your game's console to turn it on.
One of my favorite things about the Steam Deck is you can replace the boot up video that plays. Yeah. And they just have a store where they make them for you. And of course you can get custom ones if you want. My
favorite one is someone put the opening of Scrubs on there. It's like Gabe Newell and stuff like that. It's so good.
Yep, exactly. And I want I think if they had an option like that on the PlayStation, and you could get the PlayStation, get any PlayStation boot up on there, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, things like that. Not expecting the world on all this stuff, but this PlayStation 30th anniversary stuff might have revealed something bigger coming. Fans think Sony just revealed the PS5 Pro design. This is from Eddie McCoo at GameSpot. In an interesting development, it appears Sony may have just revealed the rumored PlayStation 5 Pro's design. As people are discovering, the PlayStation 30th anniversary imagery released today, on September 5th, seems to include an image of some kind of product that matches up with that leaked design of the rumored PS5 Pro. People were listening to the show last week or earlier this week, I can't remember anymore. Bill Kuhn, that leaker, had an image of the PS5 Pro box, and they didn't want to post a direct image of that, so they posted an illustration of what the PS5 Pro looks like online. They just drew it, and it was a PS5, but instead of like that one line that the Slim model has, or that separates the two faceplates on one side, there are like 4 lines, and it's like, oh, okay, so they're going to kind of do what they did with the PS4 Pro, but on the side instead of like for the whatever. Yeah, that's what it looks like. And now this artwork inside of the PlayStation 30th anniversary logo looks exactly the same. And people are like, well, what else could this possibly be? And the answer is, that's almost certainly the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. It probably does look like that. The thing about it that interests me is it looks just straight flat. Like it just looks like a square, or a rectangle, as opposed to like the weird wobbly thing
soft
that
edges,
is, which I have no real issue, other than I thought about taking my PlayStation with me on my travels recently in case Astro Bot came in so I could play it, which I instead took a PlayStation Portal. Was one of the biggest mistakes of my life.
Yep.
Just lugged that thing around the world for no fucking reason.
Just useless.
It was useless.
Tim, I just bought a new router. I think the last time we talked about when you were buying a router, I just bought a new one. I was so happy with it. Now I hate this fucking thing. I'm going to be like one of those people who buys a new router every 6 months until
you hate the router or the Portal?
I hate my router. I haven't really used the Portal, but I used the Chiaki for Deck on the Steam Deck, and it was working fine on Wi-Fi 6E for a little bit, and now that 6E signal just never is reliable anymore. It's driving me crazy. So I honestly, I should go get like an industrial router, because we have a lot of devices connected to the internet. I wonder if it's just overwhelming the network. I don't know.
I got one of those routers that sounds like it's named after a crime, like a predator or something like that.
Right.
I got the Asus RT AX88U Pro.
Okay, I have the Asus RT AXE 7800 or something like that, and then I must have bought it before really doing enough research. The reviews for that thing are not good, so that's why I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna buy a new one.
The one that I got is really good. I actually have 2 of them, and I used like the other one to create a mesh network. Which let me tell you, this does not fucking work.
Has a mesh network ever worked for anybody? Because I did the Google one, and the Google one was terrible.
It does work in that in the areas that I had really low signal, I have much higher signal.
Okay,
but it also feels a little more unreliable.
Yeah, it feels like it becomes like things just when they don't connect. Now it's like, why is it breaking?
What I'm saying is sometimes when I'm shitting on the toilet, my video starts to load, and you know what? That's not what I wanted.
It's not acceptable. We're trying to avoid that wherever possible. I don't want to think about the fact that I'm pooping.
Yes,
and I have sin
want to be able
to
watch my video in 1080p. While I drop the kids off at the pool.
Exactly. Well, let's drop Jimmy Olsen off at the Thunder Arena, as we say in the Blake Club parlance.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. That looks like the PS5 Pro. This thing, if it's in the 30th anniversary stuff, it feels like a little bit of a suggestion of a confirmation that this thing's going to get announced soon. We've heard it could happen before Tokyo Game Show. So that means between today and the end of the month, and really, it kind of means next week if this is going to happen. That sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Eurogamer has a leaked PS5 Pro design story by Matt Wales, and in that, I think it's showing the original older piece of art that surfaced, and that still has the weird collars up design.
Right.
And I wonder how fundamental to the airflow that design is. Because if they are doing a PS5 Pro, I would like them to take a different approach to design. The one that we've seen now, or the one that we've seen now in the background of the 30th anniversary art, just looks like a straight up square, which I guess there are ways to like indicate the kind of weird like shape in on a side on profile, but it doesn't do that. So I'm secretly hoping that they figured out a way to like just make it flat.
My expectation is they wanted to do more in terms of changing the design language of the PS5 Pro, but when they suggested that idea, Mark Cerny threatened to quit and burn the place down. He's like, absolutely not.
He came in with a gun, and the gun's got like,
I need the collars.
But it's a PlayStation 30th anniversary gun.
Right.
And he's like,
so what's the fucking thing called? The PlayStation aim controller? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, Mark, please calm down. Put it down, bud. It's probably going to look a lot like a PS5 Slim. And if that thing's even actually called the Slim, I think it's just called the PS5. And it will just have more lines on the side. That's probably what's going to be. So I'm a little disappointed for someone like I'm with you. I don't have a lot of problems with the way the PS5 looks overall. I just would get more
Slim. The Slim looks great.
Slim looks great, but I also want to get excited and have other reasons to justify purchasing this thing. And if it looked even more different, that would help with that. I think we probably get to the end of next week and this thing gets announced. That's where I'm like putting my money. I don't know, but that seems to be the way the wind is blowing.
Yeah, latest TGS.
Yes, right. That sounds exactly right.
But I don't think Sony would like have such a narrow focused event be the place where they show off or reveal their brand new globally available piece of hardware.
Right. Tokyo Game Show seems like the place where it's like once something is announced, you have meetings and updates about it, but it's maybe not the place to do the initial reveal.
Maybe you announce it before Kojima shows off Death Stranding 2 and it's like, well, look what this thing can do. And it's just an even higher polygon version of Norman Reedus.
We do have that picture of Hideo Kojima recently post himself playing something on a PlayStation, and he has a black tarp over what looks like that big U-shaped PlayStation Pro box that's been rumored to be out there for a while. So yeah, he's been working on the PS5 Pro, it seems like. So yeah, I would expect him to be a marquee game that shows off what that thing can do. I
was like, anecdotally, I got a lot of folks, like not folks, but like a lot of the games that I saw at Gamescom were like running a bit weird, and I was like, how have we reached here this quickly? That's very strange. So it feels like the right time for like a hardware revision to come along. That's a little more powerful.
And that was also some of the reporting. Is like when developers were talking to each other at Gamescom, they were openly talking about the PS5 Pro. So that says to me that everyone there is expecting this thing to be here anytime now. And then, the other side of the reporting is November is when this thing actually comes out. So you kind of can't wait much longer to announce it.
No. Price drop for the old one, new one available for Christmas.
Well, yeah. How much of a price drop do you think, though?
I think it's going to be like a minuscule price drop. They're going to be like, this is $5 cheaper. Good job.
I
feel like $50 is probably the max.
We got this next story here.
Or they keep it at the same price and like pack in more stuff. Like, it's got Astro Bot on it. It's got all the Uncharted. It's got Last of Us on there.
Right. There's a Last of Us bundle and there's a Horizon bundle, and it has all of those games. And I think that's very likely. Speaking of price, next story: PS5 Pro could be $650. An analyst says this. This is from Eddie McHugh at GameSpot. A new, more powerful version of the PS5 is reportedly primed for announcement soon. And while the rumored PS5 Pro system hasn't been officially confirmed, video game industry analysts are weighing in with their thoughts about it. Circuit Toto of Canton Games told IGN that there is no doubt that a PS5 Pro is on the way. What form it takes and what upgrades it might offer over the existing PS5 remains a mystery, but it will be more expensive than the PS5, the analyst noted. Toto said the PS5 Pro is likely to cost $600 or $650 when it's released, and that the existing PS5, which costs $500, will not receive a price cut. Michael Wagner of Newzoo said history suggests that the PS5 will receive a price cut when the PS5 Pro launches, citing the precedent of the PS4 getting a price cut when the PS4 Pro came out. Daniel Ahmad of Nico Partners said this generation isn't the same as past ones, in part because production and shipping costs are not declining like they did with previous generations. all that stuff remains very high. And I just think the people showing up to buy these things are the least price sensitive customers because they're the biggest fans, and this is their primary source, their primary hobby, their primary source of entertainment. They're the ones who could charge the most. So yeah, I think I tend to still agree with you, Tam, that while maybe the price doesn't go down, they find ways to increase the perceived value by bundling in more stuff this holiday. That feels right to me. And then that helps them tell the story of, and then if you want all the new bells and whistles, 45% improved rasterization performance, and twice the performance for ray tracing, all that stuff, well, boy, do we have the box for you. And the people that care about that stuff are the people that will spend $650, or they'll trade in their old PS5 and save a little bit and spend $350 on this. That sounds like that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, I feel like the value proposition changing is where it's at.
Yeah.
Especially given everything that people are saying about cost of the stuff recently. Excuse me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. I feel like there's a good chance. I wonder if they like do bundles with the slim one as well.
Yeah.
Or if it's just the OG unit that gets price
cuts. I guess they do. Do they still sell the original PS5? I haven't paid attention.
I think they do. Yeah,
I thought they did too.
I have seen it in a few places.
So
and I assume it's because they did a revision of the original model, which was in the same kind of like form factor, right?
Right.
So maybe I assume that's the one that's being sold.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. But so they could have like step pricing for all these various models or whatever, and they could introduce an original PS5 slim model with more storage, right? And that could be $550, or that could even be $600 if they put like 2 terabytes of storage in it, and then that makes it very easy to say, well, then the PS5 Pro is $650 or even $700. I mean, we'll see. This thing could be very expensive when it comes out. All right. I think what we'll do now is we'll take a quick break. When we get back, plenty more news, kind of a victory lap for Astro Bot up next, right after this. All right, let's get right back into it. Astro Bot is the best reviewed game of the year so far. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Between new Warhammer 40K, Harry Potter, and soccer simulator games, September is shaping up to be a packed month on the gaming calendar. But the best reviewed game of the month and the year thus far has just launched in the form of Astro Bot, a new adventure starring Sony's adorable mechanical mascot. Astro Bot has been a critical smash hit, as numerous reviews have praised it for being an exciting platformer that is a joy to play and uses the DualSense controller to create immersive gameplay. It has a 94 on Metacritic, which makes it the best like standalone game. I think Shadow of the Erdtree is higher, but that's DLC. But outside of Shadow of the Erdtree, there is no better reviewed game released this year than Astro Bot. And I think there have not been many games in the 90s on Metacritic this entire year. It's very hard to get in the 90s, let alone all the way up to 94. If you sort by genre and on Metacritic and you go to platformers, I think maybe you think you can do it by 3D platformers. I think it's right now it's Mario Galaxy 1 at a 97, the Mario Galaxy 2 at a 97, then Mario Odyssey 3 at a 97. Then the fourth best reviewed platformer of all time is now Astro Bot. That's wild. That is the conversation that game has entered into. And I mean, I think it's earned it. I really, really love this game, Tam. Do you think this thing is on the precipice of being able to like break through to an audience beyond maybe what even Sony was expecting?
I think so. I'm actually not familiar. I'm not super aware of how much Astro Bot has pushed into the
it's hard to gauge
mainstream consciousness.
Astro's Playroom came with every PS5, but did people even realize
that? Yeah, that's the thing where it's like Astro's like something that we definitely took to, but we're like gaming weirdos, and it's unclear whether people who are just like normal gaming weirdos are like, yeah, this is great, I'm obsessed with this little robot thing now, or if it's just like, oh, that was nice, moving on, where's my Call of Duty? But I do feel like Astro has that potential that can be pushed into like the mainstream or like pushed into the wider consciousness right now. And I feel like it's going to continue to sell really well. I think the word of mouth is going to do a lot of good work for it, especially as like we come into like the holiday period where there's potentially a new console available and a cheaper version of the PlayStation 5, the word of mouth of people saying, hey, this Astro game is unreal. You got to play this. If you're getting a PlayStation 5, you got to have this for your kid or for yourself. If you're, whatever age you are, it works for everyone. That's the genius of that game. It's like, it doesn't matter how old you are. It's a joy to play regardless. So I feel like it will definitely benefit. I think that by the end of the year or like early next year, when the financials are coming out, we're going to be surprised with how much of a leap there was between like release and like the holiday period in terms of sales.
Yep, I think you're right, and I think it's standing here right now. I am finding it very easy to be optimistic about this game's outlook in terms of being able to just win people over that give it a chance. And I think every time someone looks at these reviews, reads the response on Twitter, I think very soon, starting today, really last night, people have begun playing it publicly and streaming it, and they're going to start sharing gameplay clips. And a lot of those are going to take the form of, oh my God, I can't believe they made a reference to this character. But I think very quickly it's going to turn into, look how amazingly fun this is. Look at this incredible moment. And I think that the combination of those two sides of very shareable clips is going to be the kind of thing that people go, I need to experience this for myself. And, I don't know if that turns into a game that is able to sell 10 million copies, which I think is like a very, very, very high bar for it. But I do think it could easily catch on and do like the 7, 8, 9 million if things really get going for it. And yeah, I also think it'll have a long tail. I think it's the kind of game where if you're picking up a PS5, maybe it's the other game you get besides Spider-Man, and then your flavor of game that you always get, which is whether that's a sports game or a shooter or something like that. This is like, hey, this is a good thing I'll get for this, and me and my kids might play it. I think there's a chance it falls into that category, and I hope it does.
Yeah.
All right. Nintendo may just launch a new Switch OLED bundle with Mario Wonder this month instead of announcing the Switch 2. This is from Ollie Reynolds at Nintendo Life. Excuse me. With rumors of a Switch successor announcement ramping up, it's worth keeping in mind that Nintendo still has lofty ambitions when it comes to its current hardware. According to its most recent financial data, Nintendo is still aiming to ship 13 million Switch consoles before the end of the current fiscal year. How will it achieve this? Well, we know a new special edition Switch Lite is on the way to accompany The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. But according to Deal Labs, which is known to provide reliable information on unannounced projects, Nintendo is also preparing a new hardware bundle for the upcoming holiday season. Currently slated for release in Europe, the bundle will consist of a Nintendo Switch OLED model console with a digital copy of Super Mario Bros. Wonder and a 3-month subscription to Nintendo Switch Online, priced at €350. And this would launch in October. Yes, it basically launch a little bit later this year. There's a chance that all this, like the rumors that have happened recently of, hey, they've moved things around because something's happening with the Switch 2. Maybe there was some miscommunication there, and what we're actually just going to get is another Switch announcement in September. Are you losing the faith about Switch 2, or have you just blocked out this noise?
I have blocked out this noise because hardware timing is so fickle that I try. It's very different from like when you hear, oh, video game is going to be released at this time.
Agreed.
There's a little more weight to that, and it usually takes, I think I would say like a lot more for it to be shifted. And when those factors are coming into play, people who are paying attention can kind of read the tea leaves. And then also like we start hearing things that are like, this is looking like it's gonna change. Whereas it feels like with hardware, we're just kind of guessing a lot of times, and the things that we do here are so vague. Like I've heard multiple times X console is coming out this time, and then for some whatever reason it's been delayed, and it's like, why was it delayed? And people are just like, don't know. It could be any number of things.
And I think you're right that it's it is more malleable than people I think realize. A lot of the finalized details of what a console launch is going to look like are decided very last minute. Like maybe not the name, but like the pricing is something that they like have a range that they're working in, and that the last minute they're like, okay, the market feels like they'd be okay with this. We're going to go with as much as we could possibly get away with, and
like that PlayStation Xbox digital thing, reactive style, like the history that they have where They undercut each other. Was it PlayStation that came in lower, or the Xbox that came in lower?
No, it was a PS4. Xbox was early in the day at $500 with the the Kinect built in, and then later that day, Sony went $400 for this, and it's for the gamers. And you could just share your games by handing a copy over to someone else, and that was
probably decided like.
We know for a fact that the game sharing thing was made last minute as a reaction. Yes, it's all that stuff was right there, and the pricing, going back to the beginning of PlayStation, we know that the pricing was something that they were using as a tool to fight against Sega, because they were like, we want to push Sega out as much as possible because we know we're not going to be able to get rid of Nintendo necessarily. But if we can take over what Sega has, and the way we're going to do that is we will always be $100 cheaper than the Saturn. So when Saturn gets announced at this price, well, we're just going to come out and say $299. And then when Saturn tries to make a price cut happen, even though it was losing a ton of money, PlayStation was cheaper enough to manufacture. They're like, every time that would happen, Sony would cut their price again. And it was a tool that they wielded against Sega. And nothing's changed in that stuff. I think that these companies try to keep as many of those tools in their kit as they can when it comes to launching a system of any stripe. And that means we have a marketing plan, but every beat in this marketing plan can be slotted in to a different date depending on what we need and when we need it. So I once it kicks off, once it starts, the machine begins rolling a little bit automatically. But they're holding back on when they announce it, I think, because they're like, we want to pick our time on that. And I think we're still in that phase right now.
Yeah, I feel like if I had to place a bet, I would say we're more likely to get an OLED Switch than a Switch 2 announced at the end of the year. It feels like Nintendo would want a little more of a runway than that.
I think we know they want they have still high, like this story says, they want to sell. They sold 2 million Switches in that one quarter that they've reported so far for their fiscal year. They still have to sell another 13 million this year. How do they do that? Some aggressive bundling seems like the answer, and that's probably what they're going to focus on before they start getting people too excited about the Switch 2.
I laughed earlier because when you mentioned the Switch, that's the Zelda Switch, because during PAX we took our good friend of the show, Ben Starr, with us to a bunch of appointments.
That's right.
And one of them was the Zelda appointment, and we were in the room getting a presentation, and then the person giving a presentation was like, and we'll have this new OLED Switch which has got the Zelda stuff on it, and they step aside and the Switch was behind him the entire time, and all you hear is Ben go, "Wow." Literally no one else in the room made any noises. It's just him going, "Wow."
Oh, the wonder of a child. Oh,
yeah.
Sweet boy Ben Starr.
It was so funny. I wish I could have captured that moment. Everyone turned, look at him, and he was like,
some Nintendo security footage somewhere has that, and they watch it all the time when they're feeling down.
It was so cute and so funny.
That's incredible. All right, so we don't know when Nintendo's going to announce anything. There's still a chance a Switch 2 could get announced this month, even if there is an OLED model coming as well. Or, there's a chance that we don't hear about a Switch 2 until March. Like that, both things are possible. But it's coming, and Nintendo has spent a lot of money investing in getting this thing up and off the ground. In fact, Nintendo R&D spending peaks to nearly $1 billion in the lead up to the Switch 2. It's a headline from Ryan Perino at GameRanks. As reported by TweakTown, Nintendo has increased their spending on research and development this year at a staggering 22-year peak. In fiscal year April 2001 to March 2002, at the start of the GameCube's lifetime, Nintendo spent 17 billion yen. In fiscal year April 2023 to March 2024, Nintendo spent 137.7 billion yen, or about $911 million. This amount also accounts for 8% of Nintendo's net sales for the past fiscal year, so it is a significant amount that was taken from their cash reserves. Nintendo has been slowly increasing their R&D through the decades. The fact that they are now reaching nearly $1 billion indicates that even the company's conservative methods of keeping up with the industry has still forced them to reach an obscenely high amount of spending. This also lines up with the rumors that have recently come up in relation to the Switch 2. Last month, we reported on WellTrend stating production of Switch 2 components has begun. Yesterday, business analyst David Gibson pointed out that another Nintendo partner, Hussain, has spent 2 billion yen on production equipment and 1 billion yen on automation. What's that? Yes, no, the King. It's Poseidon, not Poseidon. I feel like there's
it's the King of Sea, but slutty.
Yes, thank you. That's the joke I was looking for. Thank you very much. And that's solely for the manufacture of Nintendo products. So they're spending a lot of money on that stuff. Whatever. A lot of money's being spent on this thing. $1 billion on research and development, the highest they've have had in 22 years at Nintendo.
They're gonna come out with something insane. They're gonna do. I feel like we're due for a Nintendo like crazy move.
Right, it's a crazy move, right?
Yeah. I feel like we're gonna get like, Nintendo announces new product that will analyze your shit.
Yep,
your poops to tell you how healthy you are, and everyone's gonna be like, "Excuse me."
The Nintendo stool vitality sensor. Yes,
yeah. They're gonna do something insane like that. People are gonna be like, what the fuck? and then it won't come out, they'll like adapt it into something else.
I mean, I think that this is probably going to be some like big move that is sort of a sideshow to the Switch 2 being like probably a lot of the stuff that we're predicting. But I think they want to have a Rob the Robot style, and here's something flashy to make you forget that you're basically buying the same thing again, but it's more powerful. Not that any of us really care that that's the case. I think that's what we want. But I think Nintendo thinks the wider audience needs the keys dangling in front of them to get distracted from that.
I think what they're going to make what they should make is an all-round fitness and health app that combines all of their like initiatives into one, like Pokemon Sleep and Pokemon Go and all this kind of stuff, and be like, oh, here's this thing where you put it on yourself and it will measure your sleep, it will measure your steps, your health, it will give you pings about, you need to do this much amount of activity, why don't you pick up Pokemon Go or try playing what's that fitness game? Switch
Ring Fit Adventure.
Ring Fit Adventure, and it's also monitoring your blood sugar levels and crazy shit like that. And then I feel like every now and then Nintendo tries to appeal to the like worldwide health market in a very Nintendo way, and we're due one of those.
Yeah, I think that you are probably exactly right. It is going to be something. I think they always want to have a health app ready to go, and I maybe that's Ring Fit Adventure too. But I think I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the spending is we're going to try to do something really bold in that space.
And wearables are a big thing right now. Like between like
I get into wearables also. Yes.
I'm wearing 2 wearables right now. Like this one for like sleep and stuff. This one for like fitness and like.
If I didn't know that you've never done anything illegal, I would say you look like a drug dealer right now.
Maybe I am.
No, you've never.
But like also like there's like rings and stuff as well now that measure. It feels like Nintendo could get in there and be like, we've got something. We've got
something like it's like you're gonna feel like you're in a cult, but it's Nintendo, so it's fun. I think there's a chance of that. There's also a shot here that a lot of the spending is just figuring out stuff like backward compatibility layers and things like that. Although my guess has been that Nintendo has had NVIDIA work on that stuff for them, and Nintendo is researching other like the fun stuff.
I'm sorry.
I know. We said wearables.
I just came up with $1 million idea. Good morning, Tam. Hello.
Hi.
All right. I know I've been talking out the butt about the Nintendo Watch, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Instead of a watch, watches are out of vogue. No one likes watches anymore. No one wears watches. Apple Watch is out the window. You know what we need to track all of our vitals and everything? A power glove.
Oh.
Okay. Listen, I would love that.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
Man, I would. Man,
a power glove?
A power glove wearable computer, wearable game console. Yeah, I mean, I'm all aboard that. Let's make that happen.
You know what's going to happen, isn't it? We're going to look back on this and we're going to realize, they spent $1 billion, and they're going to come out and they're going to be like, we've come up with a way to revolutionize online play.
Yeah. Oh, no.
We are going to allow you to give yourself any sort of username followed by a 12-digit code. And it's going to be perfect.
Uh-huh. You're probably right.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most basic shit ever.
We have purchased a second server. Right. And that'll be it.
And we have also acquired MySpace, and all our gaming will be done through that. Actually, Friendster, that'd be more their speed. All right.
We will need your social security number because we will be pinging your credit history to see whether you're allowed to be on the internet to play Tetris.
Right. We've come up with Nintendo credit scores.
We need
keeping track of everything.
We need the phone numbers of at least 3 family members so we can check that you're not 5 years old.
And of course, the better your stool sample, the higher your score will be.
Exactly.
All right. Last thing I put here is, hey, Tam, is Fairgame's gonna be okay? Do you remember Fairgame?
Yeah, I'm. Is that the Jade Raymond one?
That's the Jade Raymond one.
I feel like Fairgames has a lot of issues already, purely because it has a $sign in the name, which I think is a fucking catastrophe. What are you doing, dude?
Over at GameSpot, do you guys respect that?
I have zero respect for your stylized thing. If you're all caps, kiss my ass. It's not happening. I put a space in between from and software. If I'm putting a space between from and software, it's all bets are off. Okay?
I will respect one intercap, one camel case in the middle.
Do you know what the issue with this is? Do you know what the reason why I say this is a catastrophe? Because you know what kind of people and what other market does a symbol in the middle of the name of something? The fucking crypto market.
They do that.
That looks like a crypto name.
It does.
It looks like a crypto name, and people are. And I look at it, I'm like, oh, it's a crypto game.
Yeah.
It's why are you doing this? Is insane. Just call
it fair like game. I would see in the bio of a crypto bot. Yes, 100%.
Is a $sign so important to the game experience that it needs to be there?
Tim, I think I don't just like this. I hate it. I hate looking at that $sign.
That.
I deeply hate it. Actually,
based on that, I'm like, it's not a great start for you, is
it? Okay. Apparently, though, Christopher Dring said on, I think he was on the VGC podcast, that internally they're happy with the game. Does that even matter? Because I mean.
I feel like we live in a post-quality world where the quality of a game is not a good indicator of whether it's going to succeed. But I do feel like one of these bets for a lifestyle games as a service type game is gonna land. I feel like Fairgame could be it. I'm more interested in Fairgame than whatever else they're doing with trying to make Horizon a multiplayer lifestyle games as a service game. I have very little interest in that. But I also don't know enough about this game to say either way. It's got a very strange vibe. It's got a weird hacker vibe, then it's got a Payday vibe, and then it's got a Cuphead Anarchy vibe, and I'm just it's very unclear what the aesthetic and the vibe of this game is meant to be.
A competitive heist experience is how they describe it. Yeah.
I feel like that could be Payday has been good in the past and it seems like a fun experience, but I feel like no one's done a good heist game properly. The closest you get is GTA, I guess, and Payday, but there is an opportunity here, but the market for this stuff is so fickle, man.
I don't.
You could make the best game ever, and people be like, "Nah, I'm okay. I've got Fortnite."
Yeah, I think it's going to be. Maybe there was a chance this game was going to be $40. At this point, they just got to start it off free to play, right?
Or put a price tag on this.
At least in PlayStation Plus day one, at the very least, I think they can do that.
If this is a game that has a roadmap where people need to pay more money for additional content, they cannot put a price tag on the entry point of this. That is, in this day and age, that is slowly plunging a knife into your game. It's rough, and chances are people are going to reply and be like, that is so unrealistic, we have to put a price, it's so expensive. I completely understand, but you know who doesn't care? The people who are relying on paying to pay money. They do not give a shit how much money you have spent making this game. They don't care how much of years of your life has gone into this, which is incredibly sad, but ultimately they will make a snap decision in a moment to be like, yeah, I'll check this out. And the barrier to making that moment to happen to, yeah, I'll check this out, is a price tag. That is where thought starts to come into it. And at that point, they think, well, I could play this, but I am spending money on Destiny, Warframe, World of Warcraft, whatever it may be. And then that is a very, very, very high wall to get over.
Yep. I think you nailed it. Like that, you could spend 6, 7, 8 years on a game, and that snap decision people make, there's just no, crossing that gap. The people consuming the game, the people making the game, they're so far apart. And I just don't envy being on the side of trying to figure out what that fickle market is going to be looking for.
Here's an idea for Sony. Here's an idea. If you want a lifestyle game, think about this: 100 hunters parachute into Yharnam. Go from there.
I think you might have something. I think get going on that. You own that shit, Sony. You could do that if you want. All right. I got a poll question from yesterday. Let me bring it up here and then put it there and then put it in front of your eyeballs and your ear holes. All right. Are you getting Astro Bot? See, 60% said yes, 40% said no on 3,000 votes.
That 40% is going to have the saddest next couple of weeks.
I think so. Yeah, I bet, and I think you're right. That word of mouth, people will be won over here in the next couple of days, and they will feel bad about missing out on the party. All right, we have a new poll question coming up in a second. Before we do that, Tam, where can people find you on the internet? What do you have going on? All that good stuff.
We're recording at Jeff's today. We had a bunch of like scheduling snafus recently because we've been traveling and various other projects have come in and got in the way, and it's been very busy. So we're recording that today. So hopefully that'll be up early next week. And then beyond that, do we have UPF today?
We have UPF. We're going to be playing Astro. We're playing Astro on the website today. Perfect. Really looking forward to that. It's my fault. We were going to do a catch-up stream where we played a bunch of games yesterday, but we did the BCR yesterday instead. So we'll play some Astro today. Next week, we'll try to do a catch-up stream. Also, I want to play some of that multiplayer Space Marine 2. I started that game.
Yeah.
It's really solid.
It feels like they were like, what if we made a Gears of War game? Again,
yeah. I
some
agree.
Doom in there.
I agree. You have to be careful whenever you compare the Warhammer 40K to Gears of War, because Dean did that once. Now, Dean did it being like they were copying Gears of War.
Dean? Who's Dean?
Dean Takahashi from GamesBeat. He said it once, and the Space Marine fans...
guy?
Yeah, the Cuphead guy. And they lost their mind at him for weeks and weeks and weeks. And so I'm always like afraid to be like, this kind of reminds me of Gears of War.
I feel like Dean could say anything and people would be like, the Cuphead guy is here saying stuff. Let's get him.
Henry Cavill's going to show up and beat him down. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, also, like, if you're crying because someone said the Space Marine is like Gears of War, you're the worst kind of Warhammer pervert, and I live to see you cry.
Yeah, we have no respect for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have no respect for you. I respect people who like Warhammer. I'm one of those people who eternally wants to get into Warhammer, but instead just looks from a distance and goes, that seems nice over there. Seems really cool. I'll have like a little taste whenever I can get in. But the people who come in are like, you don't know Warhammer. You cannot say, I'm like, eat my ass. Shut up.
I think this is the good game to get that taste, because they are doing a lot of good stuff with that dark sci-fi.
Grimdark. It's called Grubb. Don't get it wrong.
Right.
It's called Grimdark.
You're right. I gotta remember the brand. All right. New poll question. How are you feeling about Fairgames?
Why are there so many Marvel vs. Capcom gifs in the chat? I just looked over at
it. They must have just
absolutely popping off.
They must have just added it. Usually Sean adds one or Jan adds one. Yeah, it's a new one.
Incredible.
So it looks fantastic. It's a really good one.
That looks so good.
For audio listeners, it is Ryu.
You know what's great about that moment? Yeah, the dab moment in that one. It's, if you watch it, there's a slight pause before the dab actually begins.
Yep.
And the energy that is like built up in that pause is like
the kinetic energy
level.
You can feel it. It's incredible. Like your hair stands up.
You can hear it when it hits, and you're like, oh yeah, that's good.
How are you feeling about Fairgames? Optimistic, cautious, pessimistic, and what is Fairgames? Those are your options. We will get the results of this poll on Game Miss Mornings, on Giant Bomb, on Monday. Well, okay. There's a chance I might be traveling. We'll see. Right now, it feels like I probably won't be traveling because of the COVID, but we'll see. If not, we'll get it sometime next week.
The thing I'll say about your COVID as a 5-time COVID champion.
Yeah, please. I need the
first time.
Yeah.
There's going to be a day where you think you're better.
Shit.
Right?
I'm worried.
You
about
need
that.
at least 3 more days after then. Okay. After that,
I'm hoping that day is today because I do feel a lot better. And then,
no, you will know when that day is. And if you're not sure if it's today, it's not today.
Fuck.
There's going to be a day where you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel good.
Okay.
That is the day where you need to.
I don't feel like that today. No.
Yeah, you need to add 2 to 3 days on top because that is where I've had that mistake. First couple of times I was like, I feel good, and then like just backslide hard, and I was like, I should have prepared for that. So you don't want to be on a travel thing and then being like, oh shit, this is getting bad again.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't even had any negative tests yet. So the idea of me traveling by Monday seems really slim in this moment.
That doesn't seem like a good idea.
It just doesn't seem like it's gonna happen.
Everyone's bodies are different, so there's a chance that you wake up and you're like, oh, I feel great. Yep. And I'm fine.
We'll see. But either way, we'll get the results next week. In the meantime, Tam, thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking about video games, man. It really capped off the week in a great way.
Thank you for having me as always. Hopefully I'll be back next Friday. Maybe if I'm around, I should be around.
Yeah, we'll see if we can make it happen again. As always, everybody, a lot of great stuff happened on the website this week. Go watch those PAX videos. Those panels were great. There was just a ton of fun. In the meantime, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right, we are